哎，我觉得我们得看一下我那个手机的那个方向。
可以的，你先等一下啊，我先把这个发出去，之后再调整。
We came from a business that independently of blockchain technology, but has discovered blockchain.
Cool, very good.
Same conditions, same Wi-Fi, everything similar. I will call you guys in about an hour's time.
我靠，傻逼！哎，但我也不能开始会议吧？要开始会议，召开会议。好，你走吧，过来。你只要帮我打开它就可以了。密码是多少？或者你把它取消掉？
对，我还是把它取消掉。
那你先把它取消。
怎么取消掉
Happy problem. Let's take off. Sorry.
那先结束。
对不起你们，
先结束。
但是我们需要拿多一点。
大哥，我已经开始了，你知道吗？把它收起来。收起来干嘛？先过来着。我说这个先收起来，就是 like this。哦，你是因为要干嘛？那个怎么搞啊？我已经在直播。哦。应该是在通用里面吧，或者密码。我。然后呢？先把它都关掉是吗？这是面容哎，这是面容哎。关闭密码，关闭密码。Oh shit！ 然后再进片去。我已经打开直播了。Oh shit！ 好了，现在万千人都目睹了你说 shit。你要怎么退出啊？Summer， 好了，开始你的 Zoom 吧。为什么？Zoom， 把你的 Zoom 举起来。哥，不需要你。你朋友要来吗？可以。
因为我朋友的男朋友的老板是今天的 speaker。
哦，真的？哪个人啊？
有个国泰君安那个人。
有吗？ 开始出手。好了，到这里开始。就到处找。对，找到那个。哦，你下次来皮，就这个。是应该这个。
Should we angle it a bit?
passport.
哦，我现在发，看到了。
Yeah, go ahead and send all the correct links to everyone.
Oh, it's different. Okay, let me send the.你的手在这儿啊，发着有人在看什么？发到了 S。
We are going to get started very soon. So thank you all for coming. I know it's a Tuesday, Tuesday evening. Sorry, the days are flying by now. Thank you guys for coming. We're going to get started shortly with our fireside chat. I would like to welcome Rold Munoz, VP China from Titan Block. Apologies. First, we're asking what we're doing here, what we'd like to accomplish, and how we're bringing this ecosystem together. And in order to introduce this topic, I'd like to introduce Oscar Ramos, partner at Chinaccelerator and program director here partner at SOSD, program director here at Chinaccelerator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, well, again, thank you for coming. This is the first time that we're doing this roadshow to present potential blockchain companies that are raising not just equity, but also tokens and crypto in their offerings. As some of you know, if you are already a typical person that joins some of our activities, we are an accelerator. We work with digital companies, help them to expand from different countries around the world coming to China, and we help also Chinese companies to expand internationally. But Chinaccelerator is part of a larger group, a group called SOSD. SOSD is a VC fund. It's a global VC that invests globally across different verticals, different industries, and specializes in investment in technology stacks. So we have three verticals in SOSD. We invest in software companies, digital companies. That's where Chinaccelerator sits. We invest also in hardware companies. That's where HAX, where Hardware Accelerator, and the first hardware accelerator in the world, sits. And when we have the last vertical, which is biology. Basically, what in SOSD we'll be doing is trying to help companies, early stage companies, expand and grow faster by helping them get access to unfair advantages. We started with this in 2010 in China with Chinaccelerator, one of the first accelerator in Asia. We also did that launching for hardware companies in Shenzhen, the first hardware accelerator in the world. And then with IndieBio and Roadshow, we launched the first biology accelerators. Now, as you know, blockchain is becoming a very disruptive technology, is becoming very active, and we've been investing in blockchain companies for some time. We are not a blockchain-specific accelerator. We invest in companies across all types of technologies in the software space. We have companies in machine learning, artificial intelligence. We have SaaS companies. We have mobile apps. We have different types of artificial augmented reality and virtual reality. But blockchain is very relevant, and we have not missed that trend. So according to TechCrunch right now, we are the fourth most active global investor in blockchain companies. We only invest in equity because we are a regulated US fund, and we have certain limitations in terms of our ability to invest in crypto directly. But we are also active across lots of different verticals. So this application on blockchain goes to different industries and different types of companies. what is the ICO task force? Once we realized that all the portfolio, some of the portfolio companies under Chinaccelerator, MOX, and to a certain extent some of the other accelerators were exploring token sales as a way to finance themselves and try to grow, we want to continue working, supporting our companies. And one of the problems is that that was a new thing that was happening, that we didn't know exactly what was going to be the situation of that, but we want to make sure that we are part of everything that's happening to our companies, so we can continue growing with them, and we can continue supporting those companies in a very hands-on. So the ICO task force is a group that we have inside SOSV that is only available for portfolio companies in SOSV. It's not something that we're offering to any company that is not part of the portfolio. So if anybody, or you know anybody that might be interested in joining that community, the first thing they need to do is explore joining any of the accelerators. That requires them not just to have a white paper, not just to have ideas, but to actually have a real business that will qualify to go through any of the accelerators. This service is meant to be a service that will be working with the companies from the initial stages, from conception and evaluation of potentially implementing blockchain in the company, deciding actually if a token sale makes sense or not, and continue working through the companies, not just until the token sale is finished, but also working with the companies after that's been completed. And the companies have to deploy the technology, continue growing, and then if they get listed, once they get listed in an exchange, change the way they operate in terms of communication with the investors, because at that moment they are a public company. To do that, one of the key secrets that we're using is leveraging the existing network that SOSV and Chinaccelerator have. We have one of the most interesting resources that any accelerator can have, and that's our network mentors. Chinaccelerator is a mentor-driven program. We're really happy to have today also some of our mentors involved in this event today that have been helping some of the companies. This is our secret sauce, and that's something that is very difficult to replicate and is very difficult to run. These mentors are the core and the secret of our program that involve themselves a lot and spend a lot of time helping these companies. Then some of these mentors have actually been themselves quite involved in the space, working with a lot of companies, both inside the SOSV portfolio and outside the SOSV portfolio, and they are the ones that are taking the initial leap to support these companies. Additionally, we have some of our companies that have successfully completed their token sale, that are sharing the expertise, sharing the lessons learned, some of the existing suppliers that they used in the past to help our companies at least not making the same mistakes and be able to recycle all of that. Then we have a group of people in our organization that has allocated part of their time to not only work with the companies that are going through the accelerators, but also work with the companies in the portfolio that are exploring the adoption of blockchain company, and in some cases blockchain technology, and in some cases the token itself. So what is what we're trying to offer our companies? As part of this ICO task force, our companies are getting access to ICO and blockchain specific mentors that have experience in the field, that having access to specific perks, curated vendors that are not only discounted, but in some cases are also validated. This is a new industry, there's a lot of new players in the space, and just being able to understand who is a good vendor, who is going to not waste your time, or who's going to scam itself is very valuable. Actually, in some cases, there are a lot of vendors that are already getting very high demand. So just being able to get these vendors to sit and evaluate if they want to work with the companies, or in some cases, actually working with the companies itself is very valuable. Then we're trying to move to continue deploying our secret sauce that have been the success of all the SOSV accelerators, bringing a lot of internal best practices that people don't share normally outside, and inside this community are becoming a very important and fair advantage for all our companies. This is basically what we're doing. We're working with the companies through the whole process, through starting to evaluate if a token sale or a use of blockchain makes sense of them, validating the demand, validating the use case, validating the token economics, work on the preparation of the different elements, working on the preparation of an initial prototype for what they're doing, working on the development of the initial versions of the white paper and the different assets. After that, we are also working on helping them secure resources so they can execute the next step to create a token sale, and most importantly, after that, post-management. We're working a lot with all the companies after they complete their token sale on how they can mitigate the risk, how they can make sure that they have good results fast, and they communicate very good to the investor base what are they doing and what's their progress. These are some of the companies that we have in our portfolio. Some of them have already completed their token sales. Some of them are in a process of raising their token sale right now, and some of them in a validation or preparation process for this new event for them. Well, that was the introduction for what's the ICO task force, what's Chinaccelerator for any of you that are new and don't know a lot about us. Some of the Chinaccelerator team is here, so we're mainly wearing red shirts, so just come look for us, and we'll be happy to give any answers or partner with you if you're interested in collaboration. And then, without further ado, I'm going to introduce now William Bobby, General Partner in SSB and Managing Director of Chinaccelerator. That's going to be the person moderating the panel that is going to transform itself more than a panel in a fireside chat with Roy Munoz, VP of Data Blockchain. So, Ronald, if you want to come. Thank you, Ronald.
Awesome. So there's a couple of stools, and if you guys want to grab a seat, anybody wants to sit on these little mushroom stools, Brooks can hook you up. And so here's in the back. So this is the two of us right here. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeffrey got stuck at the airport, so he won't be with us tonight. He's in Hong Kong.
Just us.
Just us. So this is called fireside chat instead of panel.
Here we go.
Okay, good. So maybe if you could just spend like 2-3 minutes introducing yourself, where you came from, how you got to where you are now with Titan and investing in crypto.
Sure.
And I can sort of give a brief intro for myself and how I ended up here. And then I'd love to just ask you a bunch of questions, and then we'll just keep this interactive. It's a small group, so open it up to questions after 15 minutes or so.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah. First, thanks a lot, William, and thanks a lot to Chinaccelerator SOSB for having me here. I'm very honored, and I'm very happy to be here to share with you guys a little bit about myself and Titan Block. So, I guess I'll start with myself. I'm from America. I'm from Chicago, and I got into China because I ended up marrying a Chinese girl, like so many other Americans. I'm sure some of you are out there. But so I visited Shanghai several times. I've traveled around China. I said, this is the place to be. This is where the action is happening. I need to have a purpose. So I basically, I actually come from a not really traditional financial background, not even a VC background. I come from the U.S. military. I did 6 years in the U.S. Air Force as an intelligence analyst on Korean linguistics. But that kind of exposed me to Asian languages, the Asian diaspora, if you will, and kind of how things happen out here. So I said, okay, let's get out of that job, let's come to China. Cool. So I did an MBA at Jiao Tong University here in Shanghai, and then I was very fortunate to be picked up by Guotai Junan, one of the top 3 investment banks out here in China. And I ended up doing blockchain research. Why did I end up doing that? Because I was sitting next to a bunch of my colleagues who have now left the company to start their own blockchain companies, such as HPB, such as NIU, such as Robin8, these kind of companies. So I said, okay, what is happening here? I need to understand more about this ecosystem. I need to know what is making it tick. So I got into a conversation with the founder of Titan Block, Ryan. Now, what is Titan Block? So the way I can put that is we are a decentralized crypto investment bank. So we offer the full suite of services. We don't just stop at investment. We do the smart contract auditing. We do the marketing, the KOL, reach out, these kind of things. We also do the listing for exchanges. We do the market making, and we do the continuous process of here's what the project should be doing to scale up, to get the kind of market share that they really want to do. Some of our investments are very focused on protocols on the base layer and what we believe will be the decentralized economy of the future. So we recently invested into Penta, Stefan, CMO right here. Penta, cool, good company, good company. We also invested into, that's good, my show. No, we also invested into Radix, which is actually not a blockchain company. It's a new kind of DLT protocol. And we also invest into Sovereign, which is digital identity. They're USA based out in Salt Lake City. And one of our other ones is Ecomi, which is a cold storage wallet. And we have a couple more on the table right now, but I think what we're trying to do is approach having the whole ecosystem of what will be the future in our portfolio. And we really believe the future is decentralized. Whether it's going to be blockchain, whether it's going to be tokens, I think that's maybe a transitional stage. It's an important one, but the most important thing to focus on is how do we decentralize all these things? How do we get full adoption? And that's what we at Titan Block are trying to do, I would say.
So for me, I started off kind of in old school. I was an equity research analyst. And part of the job as an equity research, I started doing that in 1996. So I've done 5 IPOs. And probably the 2 largest I worked on were Alibaba and Kingsoft. But I also did 2 in the US. And so after 11 years, I quit. And instead of going to a hedge fund, like most equity research analysts do, or becoming a CFO and helping other companies go public, I went into early stage venture. I ran China investments for SoftBank for 4 years, and then Singtel Innovate helped them start their corporate VC for 4 years. So at SOSV, we are not like a normal fund. First of all, we're time boxed, so we don't invest in reserve. We invest year by year. And for each fund, all the deals that we do in that year are in that fund. So if you want to continue following on with us, you have to invest in the next fund. We invest globally. So VCs don't invest globally. VCs invest locally, like by geography. Why? Because the people who give them the money, the limited partners, want them to be geographically focused. And these people don't change the way they do things. The third is that we invest through accelerators, because we think at the early stage, the best way to add value to entrepreneurs is through accelerators. So as an internet analyst background, I looked at increasing concentration of power within basically Google, Facebook, Amazon, and 5 Chinese guys. And I started the MOX Accelerator, mobile-only accelerator, in order to help entrepreneurs solve one of the biggest problems they have, which is user acquisition. Because right now, it costs you this much money to get a user, and you make this much money. And the reason why is Google, Facebook, not really Amazon, but 5 Chinese guys. And so, in a sense, it's decentralized. MOX is not on the blockchain, although when it's revenue share based, so we might end up having to do that. Because right now we have a dumb ledger with triple revenue shares, and it's a bit of a mess. The other problem that we face is we invest in a lot of foreigners in China. And I don't know whether you know this, but most foreigners in China have difficulty raising money. And so Chinese VCs generally don't invest in international founders. I mean, there's a couple of examples like Chunar, where you have an international founder that took the company most of the way to a $6 billion exit, but that's the exception, not the rule. When our company started to use ICOs to raise money, that really opened up a lot of doors. So Chinaccelerator and MOX companies have raised, not a lot, about 35 million US since the beginning of the year in 3+1 ICOs. And so far so good. But we started investing in 2015, not in sort of crypto and ICO land, but in the trading side. So we invested in a company that did cross-border remittance using Bitcoin to get around financial regulation. That didn't work. Oops. And then we invested in a crypto derivatives exchange. And the focus of that derivatives exchange, I thought, was to allow anybody around the world, like a dirt farmer in India, to be able to buy any financial product that he or she wanted off their phone. Now mostly people use BitMEX to actually speculate on Bitcoin dollar and play volatility. But we have the benefit of being the only outside shareholder, and they went through Chinaccelerator fall 2015. So that covers up a lot of my other mistakes. Yeah, because they're doing like $1 to $2 million in revenue a day. So with that, I'll just, so when you invest, I mean, how do you tell whether this is a project that you want to get involved with, or shitcoin, or whatever? Like, what are the top 3 things that you look for? Why did you invest in this guy?
That's a good question. You said top 3 things. I'll give top 4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah. So one of the criteria that Titan Block has for its projects it invests in, and also the people it hires. We call it the 4 H's. It sounds like some management school garbage, but I think it makes sense. The first is we are helpful. We try to help the projects that we are investing in as much as we can, and we also look for them to help us because I think it's best if we start with a win-win relationship. The second is we're honest because, as you just said, there's a lot of shitcoins out there. There's a lot of guys who are just trying to make a lot of money and take all your tokens and sell them suddenly, dump them on somebody, right? We don't want to do this. We are actually investing for the long term. We're not trying to dump in 6 months. We want to hold 3 to 6 years at the minimum, maybe even longer. The next one is we are humble because we know we don't have all the answers. We're still a relatively new VC, and I think everyone is always learning as they go through the process. So we learn from our projects, and we hope that they can learn from us as well. And we also try to learn from everyone that we come into contact with in this space. And I think the fourth one is we are hungry. Because this space is relatively new, there's still a lot of room for people to make a difference. So Titan Block believes, and I think the people we work with also believe, that we have a chance to actually change how the economy is run, to actually decentralize it, to actually make it what we believe could be more inclusive for those guys in India who are trying to buy a financial product. For people who actually, be like, oh, we're gonna help unbank, we really want to help you unbank, actually. Obviously we want to get some money doing it, but we do want to bring about that effective change. So those are the 4 H's, and I think Penta, and I think Stefan, as well as David, the CEO over there, I think they kind of fit the criteria, so that hit all the right buttons for us. And of course, on top of that, they have a nice team. So
cool. So, how many people here use Telegram and go into ICO chat rooms? Okay, it's fucking crazy. So, on the one hand, there's like more information. I guess you could say there's more transparency. On the other hand, it's a bit of a shit show. So, how do you advise the companies that you work with to deal with information, disclosing this information, communicating, and trying to take advantage of the good parts of a decentralized system where most of these investors are not like institutional professionals?
Yeah, and that comes down to, I think, leveraging the networks that we bring, and I think that comes down to the same for you as well, obviously. Like, if you've got, that these guys are serious investors, they're not trying to scam people, they're not just trying to sell their marketing ploy, let me review your ICO for a Bitcoin, these kind of things. So we tell the projects that we're investing in, try to shut out this noise, focus only on those relationships that bring you real value. And we try, of course, as Titan Block, to channel our network, our relationships into those investors' networks as well. We just had a call with, I won't say the name, but it's like a decentralized voting platform, and they're working a lot on helping developing nations kind of build up their voting platforms and kind of cut down the corruption. And the founder said something pretty profound. He's like, I want you guys to protect me and protect my ideals. So what does that mean? That means we try to block out the people that are going to try to, unduly influence him and put his platform where it shouldn't be needed. Whether that's like some corrupt military dictator, I don't know how we'll do that one. But I think we just try to kind of channel him to the right connections. That's all that really matters, I think. And I think that stems from the core values that Titan Block is built off of. As long as we deal with the people that we believe in, I think our portfolio companies can believe in those people as well, and we'll help them.
So for us, we help companies at Chinaccelerator and Mox go cross-border and expand. And when you're doing something, going into a new market or doing something new, there's not a beaten path, right? So we're very, very data focused. Kind of what are the data points? What are the data? What do you track? It might be different for every things, but if you could pull out 2 or 3 things that you think are important to track, and so it might be a little bit different than a traditional startup.
Sure. So we actually kind of have relatively clear criteria. We're looking for protocols. We're looking for companies that either have a mainnet already or will quickly have one. We're looking for no greater than 30 million raise, and we're looking for a team that has a track record of success. So what does that mean in success? That means either they're really good in their traditional kind of space, maybe they come from a great investment banking background, maybe they successfully work for another VC like SOSV or like Startup Bootcamp, these kind of places. our head of operations is from Startup Bootcamp. He did a lot of the data systems build out. So we're looking for these kind of guys to also be in our startups. One of the reasons that I'll bring up Penta again, sorry. So, Penta has actually quite a strong background in traditional fintech as well in China. So when I visited their offices and saw their pitch deck and just kind of walked around, I'm like, okay, these guys are the real deal. They're not bullshitting us. So I'm looking for people who are for real, and I need to be able to meet them face to face, look them in the eye, and they have the answers that we're looking for. If I bring up a question, they not only answer that question, but they answer two more that I didn't even think of. So that means these guys are switched on and they're ready to take on this project.
Questions? Anybody have questions, or I'll keep on going? Yeah, Brooks.
So other than the hard criteria for investing that you kind of just elucidated, do you make exceptions, and under what situations would you make exceptions?
That's a good question.
Yeah, sure. So the question is, you have a set of criteria, but under what circumstances would you break your own rules and invest in something that doesn't fall into your framework?
Yeah, I guess that's hard to put. I don't think there's really data for that. I mean, I would say at least one of our investments was because we got really drunk with the guy and he decided we couldn't. But like I said, so we got drunk with this guy, and it was an amazing night. But at the same time, he brought us to his after the drunk night. He brought us to his family's home, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna have a long breakfast, a long afternoon," and he just talked about his project, what his beliefs were, and that had a very strong effect on us. It may sound a little trite, but yeah, it had kind of a spiritual effect. This guy believes in his project to his very core. And then we look at, of course we do our due diligence and it looks good, and we say, okay, maybe it's not exactly the criteria we want, but this team, I can believe in them, and I know that they believe in us. So that in that case, I'd be willing to. I think that's kind of ineffable. Just kind of connect with the team.
I think it's fair to say that I still have disrupted crowdfunding for startup. I wonder what's the chances that this type of fundraising is going to disrupt VC fund? And you mentioned that most traditional VC funds are localized geographically, which is quite the opposite of the distributed nature of blockchain projects. So where do you see the potential, and what do you think are the obstacles?
So generally speaking, it's not the VC's fault. Actually, it's the LP's fault. So the people who give the money to the VCs say, you have to fit into my stupid box. And they only change what they do every 30 to 40 years. And we've only been going for 70, 80 years, 90 years, so there's not a whole lot of change. But the reason why we can break the rules is we can be global, and we can do accelerators, and we can charge more carry based on performance, is because of Sean O'Sullivan. Because he started the fund with his own money, so it's his money, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and until he ran out. But it's okay. By that time, he had a pretty good track record. So I think that the investors that just sort of do the same old thing, they're not going to be able to survive. They're not going to be able to have those consistent returns over time. And so I think it'll be harder unless VCs change. Now VCs are actually already changing. So I sent out a poll to my VC friends, more like a spam on WeChat. It's like, are you interested in blockchain? Most of them said yes. So that's an invitation for me to spam them some more. Yeah, well, we have 700 portfolio companies, and we're generally not going to be the last investor. So I think that the market is changing. But some of these guys and girls are going to get run over.
Yeah, I would just add. To me, at least how we at Titanblock operate, because we're only about 6 months old, to put it honestly. But all of the people in the company have several years in this space and several years of passion. So we kind of grew up in it, and we kind of understand. Okay, these are the implications for the token sales, the implications for the liquidity of these funds. So in a way, it's almost like how I didn't grow up using the internet, actually. I had to learn how to use it. So not that, Will's no guy, I don't think he is. But, yeah. No, but like a lot of these VCs, they have to kind of learn this thing from scratch, right? So similarly with cryptocurrency and with ICOs, people are kind of relearning this trade, and those who have not been kind of immersed in it for the last couple of years will be at a disadvantage. That doesn't mean you can't spin yourself relatively quickly, right? It's still new, it's still young, people are still learning it, and the rules haven't even really been written yet. So I think what we are trying to do is write the rules. We're trying to write the new rules on how to do this thing professionally, how to do it up to a certain standard, and how to do it right where everyone kind of benefits from the ecosystem. So.
For everyone who is looking for funding, when you look at the deals, they have the 4 H's, they go 90% of the way. Where is that missing 10% that you found? What are areas that the companies have just not proven themselves up to what you're looking for? And can you give some specific examples that we can learn from?
Sure. Yeah, so we have turned down investment. Yeah, these guys, they hit all the boxes. They're helpful, they're honest, they're humble, they're hungry. Actually, usually it's something mundane like the revenue model. It doesn't make sense. So one company had an amazing idea, and they really believed in what they were doing. It made sense, and then the revenue model was like, well, we're going to charge a certain amount of money for our services, and then people will spend the tokens to use it, and we're going to buy our tokens back in the open market. I'm like, okay, but if the token becomes volatile, how are you going to manage this kind of revenue stream? It doesn't make sense. And not only that, they had these projections that were way out of line with almost reality. They're saying, okay, we can, seriously, they were like, well, okay, we have this such and such number of potential use cases, right? And out of that, the biggest one is $500 million charged. I'm like, okay, is every single one $500 million? Like, no. So how are you going to make your money back? But if you look at the 24-hour volume of most of these top points, it's hundreds of millions. I don't think they're going to be able to charge that on a daily basis. They're going to have to make $1 million a day, which I don't see happening at their stage. So we have to get back to them and say, hey, like, this doesn't make sense. Can you kind of rethink your revenue model? And we're still in contact with them, actually. And if they can't figure it out, we probably will not go forward with them, despite the fact that everything else looks good.
So those are the types of things we try and get rid of before we go out pitching. Yeah. Question? Everybody's just waving their hands, but I can't tell whether you actually want to ask a question. Questions? Yeah. Brooks, you. So Brooks did a whole pool flavor questions. So this is from a bunch of companies, right?
Yeah. So one of the questions that our companies had was, how do you deal with coins post ICO, and typically what does day one look like after ICO, and how do you expect the company to kind of answer that if you were to ask a question of that nature?
So are you asking like the exchange listing, right? Like it comes on the exchange, we're going now. Okay, so hopefully they have engaged our market making services, which will kind of help with the token price. But that only goes so far. I mean, right now I think we're in a situation where everything relies on market making, and you just have to be honest. It is manipulated, very honestly. Nevertheless, if you want your token to actually have liquidity, you still have to invest in this. I mean, if someone has a traditional equity, they can't sell it unless there's some kind of market being made for it. So it makes logical sense. It's not like it's a bad thing to do. So I think what we advise companies is, yes, engage the market making unless you don't want to be able to use your token, basically. That's pretty much it, honestly.
Okay, just pass it back. Thank you.
I have one question. It's been a few weeks that we kind of seeing an apparent bear market right now, and from your day-to-day routine, do you see that has changed anything, or if that has impact that the momentum of more ICO companies join the force? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's definitely a bear market. It sucks right now. The first thing we've done is we've actually pulled back a lot of our outreach. In a lot of ways, we said, okay, let's just sit tight and wait out the bear market. If we do find a really good project, we'll advise them to lower your fundraising, lower your hard cap, because you're not going to raise 20 million right now. It's not possible. some miracle. And then the other one is we just kind of focus more on our current portfolio. We just try to help them build out their products and say, okay, just lay low, heads down, let's get this work done. Let's forget marketing, forget fundraising, forget all these things. Let's just build your product better. And I think that's all we could do, at least, with our resources right now.
We have time for one more? One more question? Yeah. Yeah. Shout.
Thanks. You talked a bit about. You
got a photo.
You talked a bit about kind of the values, but I want to know about specifically what does an ideal team look like? What kind of skills that maybe the team should have, which you guys consider as something good to do?
So what's an ideal team? What's the skill set? What's the balance?
Yeah, so actually I like when teams have almost nobody who does marketing on their team. Like it's just developers or it's just the guys actually building the product. That way, because that's where we bring the most value as Titan Black. That's what we do, right? We have the KOLs, we have the marketing, we do everything else except build the product. So I want to see a team that's like all tech guys. That's my favorite. I want to see guys who are, they're like, can't even really explain what they do unless I like really read the white paper and that's awesome. That's what I want to see. And then if that makes sense, that's a good thing. Now, of course, you're going to have people who have teams where they have some great founders who are great at marketing, who are great at management, who are great at building out their brand. That's also good because we also want to help build the brand and we're going to need somebody to be that company's KOL, that person's spokesperson. That helps a lot as well. But really, it needs to be heavy tech. That's really one of our main things.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That's your seat right there. Even though you're not investing in anything.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, William and Roel, for such an insightful discussion. We talked about quite a few things this time. With Q1 2018 funding for ICOs already at $6.3 billion, there's been a deluge of information. So we talked about how to kind of screen that information and leverage your network to really understand what's going on in the market. We also talked about what kind of hard data should inform your investment decisions and what do you have a framework for making exceptions. And in addition, we talked about the potential of ICOs to disrupt traditional fundraising and whether that's really even a productive way to view ICOs and whether it's productive to view them in this light. Ultimately, we also talked about how macro trends in cryptocurrencies will affect ICO fundraising. So given some of the things that we've talked about now, I think it's time to transition to our pitches from our ICO companies. So I'm pleased to introduce Richard Foster, CEO of Dream. Take it away, Richard.
Is Oscar in the house? I think Oscar stole the clicker.
$12 billion has been raised in token sales in the past 18 months. Yet blockchain entrepreneurs are struggling to pull together teams. And the same applies to corporations. We're pitching and discussing with local corporations and people using our platform. We know this because we've built the world's leading blockchain freelance site. For those of you in the crypto community, it used to be called Moneo, but we rebranded it, $10 million US. And Emma is a client on our platform, or she works in a corporation. She's got funding for her project. She knows what she needs to, she knows where she's trying to get to, she knows what she needs to build, but she doesn't know how to scope out the project. She doesn't have the network, she doesn't have the access to the current model for the global economy for the gig economy is $1.5 trillion, yet it's completely geared to individuals. It's one-to-one hiring. So if she wants to build an online team, it simply doesn't scale in the current model. And finally, will the team work? Can she trust them? Are they reputable? From our blockchain community initially, and they train our system. So as the client comes onto our platform, they're leveraging the success and the insights. When we talk about modeling success, we need to make sense of all that data. So whilst we've in batch 13, they've got thousands of angel investors, and again, you can run your project with Dream and get hooked up with these angel investors. And these are the partners I spoke about before. We have a lot more to announce, but we're saving the PR for that. So we're starting in blockchain. It's the industry we know. We've proven it works. But we're solving a broader problem, which is building teams in these reputation systems so we can scale it up. And we want to go after the whole market. We want to sell this into corporations. I pitched last week to Standard Bank with a room like this, and everybody was just nodding. I have a corporate background. Corporations face many of the same problems, so we want to sell through channel partners into corporations. We have investment from SOSV, Artisan. We have some other VC funding, which we're just signing up, and we have some significant amounts of money committed for our token set as well. So this is the competitive landscape. How we're different is around reputations. We give ownership of reputations. We leverage the blockchain to import people's reputations, and we build teams, so we scale. I'm the founder. I have a financial background. I build networks and data centers for large global investment banks and blue chips. I founded a payments company, a SaaS company, regulated payments company in London, in the UK. I founded 2 marketplaces, so I have a lot of experience with these two-sided business models and how to grow them. Amalia is a chartered accountant, ex-KPMG, and a CFO. Frank has taken his AI HR startup through an accelerator. So we already have a lot of the code and IP already produced. Vladimir is a very competent growth hacker who's worked for many startups. Daniel keeps it real when we talk about AI. So we have big aspirations, but we need to be able to deliver it. We need to be able to keep it real, essentially. Fabian is very well known in the crypto community. He wrote ERC20, which is the ICO standard, and he also, the reason that he's working with us is for ERC725. So that's the reputation standard that we're working with our partners to implement. Adam's contributed to loads of crypto projects, very, very competent guy, and Darren is a blockchain veteran who's working for Cardano. And this doesn't represent our whole team. We've got a much broader team, some fantastic advisors. We do have a really strong marketing team. Well, so yeah, come and talk to me afterwards, and I can tell you more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is Richard Foster, CEO of Dream. Thank you very much for your presentation. Next, we have Clement Lee from Fresh Chefs, here to present Food Chain. So let's welcome Fresh Chefs.
Hi. So we're a restaurant reward program. We want to tokenize it, so with gamification. So the problem with existing loyalty programs are very expensive, very time-consuming, very cumbersome, very high cost to maintain it, and also there's not enough resources to support it. So loyalty rewards program across all industries are not working. And because there are not enough activities, they are not customers are not redeeming, and not using the system, so they're not retaining clients, and also speak earlier, they have high unit costs, and the reward itself is very low interest. So consumers do not sign up for a loyalty program because of this. Offers are not interesting, takes too long to approve, time delay in redemption, and not enough discounts. So 40% of the members never redeem their reward. So if you look at it, it's like only 30, redemption rate 32% is already very high. So low client retention, because hard to earn points. If you look at the airlines, if you flown United and then after San Francisco to Shanghai, you should accrue 10,000 miles, but that miles doesn't go to your account until a month later. So this is very hard to earn. Offers, we're not interested. If you look at the airlines again, they keep changing the rules, so your points are actually getting less and less valuable. So, and then for us, because if you're a single restaurant, you're trying to do rewards program on yourself, you don't have enough outlets. So you're limited by choice, your customers are not going to be using you. So for us, we try to help to offset all these costs here. Again, we're low level of interest. Cashback payments actually are the best rewards that customers are looking for. So here's a chart, and if you look at it, about 40% of the consumers are interested in some kind of cashback. Why customer quick restaurant loyalty programs? Okay, again, rewards took too long to approve is the #1 reason. Okay, our solution is very simple. We have a dynamic QR code present for payments. Our token is called FAN. You use it as dining. At the end of dining, instead of paying cash, you will be paying using our token. And our token never expired. And you get instant discounts. We give away 10% discount if you pay by tokens versus if you pay by fiat currencies at a restaurant. And then there's only one app to install. It's the digital wallet with a discovery app. And there you can kind of like that paying. You can at Yelp, you can search restaurants, which restaurants accepting our tokens. As of today, we have over 1,060 restaurants accepting our tokens around the world. So Food Chain is a B2B2C loyalty rewards program. We work with the restaurants, we let the restaurants help them to build their loyalty program and ask their customers to join us. Okay, using blockchain, smart contract technology, we're totally decentralized, and because of that, we're really scalable. Okay, why do we use blockchain? Well, first of all, it's a trust issue. We talk to a lot of restaurants. A lot of restaurants are saying that if you are using your points, you're the only one who can accept the points, and then the points has no value. So we put on a token. The token is tradable, so there is always a value to the token. And also immutability, trustless, decentralized, these are all the benefit of being, and also transparent. These are all the benefit of using a blockchain in the rewards program. We're not the only one doing it. Singapore Airlines and Air Asia are putting their rewards program on token right now. So how it works, as we speak earlier, present the token, present the QR code for payment. If you write a review about your experience, we get you more tokens. So here's the product architecture. So the restaurant they can exchange for fiat by selling points to the exchange. We have a reserve here that is used to balance out the price. In here it's missing that we're using Banco protocol to support the utility to create liquidity to the points. Then the consumer here can also buy and sell with the exchange. All right, so here is a few screenshots of our program. So the QR code is kind of like Alipay and WeChat Pay. You use it to pay at the end of your dining experience. And the restaurant will receive the money, and they can sell the fan token. There's a wallet there that you can go and exchange and redeem convert the token to fiat. So why restaurants want us? Okay, first of all, is small customers. The opinions of authenticated because it's also on blockchain. The tokens have value, and hopefully it will be appreciating over time because we have a limited amount of tokens issued. The software is totally free, and the most important thing is called collective marketing, which we're combining a lot of independent small restaurants to issue rewards on a collective platform. So everyone share the same customers. So why consumer want us? Okay, for one thing is a universal currency, so it works anywhere in the world, as long as the restaurant accepting our tokens. So you get a 10% discount, instant discount by paying with our tokens than your fiat currency. The token can anytime be converted to cash, and also want 3 more tokens, you can write a review. Okay, here's our revenue model. We have 15% commission from the restaurant, 10% we give it back to the customers, 5% we use for our operation. Part of that 5% is given back to the consumer if they write more review about us, about the restaurant. So here's the roadmap. So we have an MVP coming out in August. Then in late 2018, we'll be doing everything on the blockchain. And then first quarter, we'll build the digital wallet. And then the second quarter next year, we'll be integrating with the Bancor smart contract. Third quarter next year, we'll be doing the infrastructure integration to speed up the volume. And fourth quarter, we'll start putting gamification into the system. So here's our competitors. Ovato is in process of doing an ICO for about 33 million. Big Rewards has already completed their ICO. GetCoin has already completed. Taste Card is not a blockchain company. It's just a restaurant. Taste Card. They're based in UK and they have processed about 600 million pounds of rewards program. And then we have FoodChain. Okay, so the tokenomics, we have different phases. The first phase is going to be market adoption. So we basically got all the fan tokens for free. We give the restaurant gives it to the customers, everything is on us. The consumer will start getting a lot of free tokens. So in phase 2, they'll be using the free tokens to consume at the restaurant. So restaurant will be getting a lot of fan tokens and we will buy it back from them. And this is how we create value in the tokens. And then phase 3, we will start introducing the exchange, and because of that, we need a reserve. And also we'll have Bancor in there to increase the liquidity. And then phase 4, when everything is stabilized, we'll get rid of the reserve and let the market dictate the price of the tokens. So here's the token distribution. 45% is from the ICO. Our team is getting 10%. The rest of it are distribution partners, private sale, and bounty. Here's me. I have 25 years experience. I have 2 successful exits before. I founded the largest restaurant delivery in the States in the 1990s. The company went public in year 2000. Has about $100 million revenue. We built from one guy, me, to about 1,600 employees by the time we went public. And then I brought the service office concept here to Shanghai. I came in year 2000. And the company organically grew to about $30 million in sales. And I sold it to a company called Regis in 2011. And then I started this program here, and I joined the Chinaccelerator as a batch 12 company. They invested in us, as well as give us a lot of guidance and helping us to do this ICO. So here's Karen Cully, which is a blockchain engineer. He is a CTO of a company called Almari, and is very popular in India to help a lot of companies to do blockchain. Gene, my partner, is sitting here. He's also very well known in the F&B space. He knows a lot of restaurants. He established, Salad Plus, Swan & Company, Eat F&B, and he bought Royal Flora Holland, the largest floral company into China. Brian Tan, he founded several restaurants. He started as a chef, and now he's a restaurant consultant, and he's very interested in blockchain technologies, so he's helping us to build restaurants. Edwin is with me for a long, long time. We started way back in school, and he helped me to develop all the software, and he's very knowledgeable in software. So we have the advisors here, William. Even Luther is a blockchain expert. He is very well known. He speaks a lot in a lot of blockchain conferences, and he is helping us to advise us on how to implement a lot of the technical part. And Nate George is a venture capital, and then we have Hank, which is also a mentor at SOS Venture. So we use the proceeds here. Technology will be 35%, marketing is 35%, the rest of operation and reserve. So thank you. This is where you can find me.
Thank you very much, Clement. Clement Lee, CEO of Fresh Chefs. You can find him after the next two pitches. So I'd like to introduce now Kenny Au of Lux Chain. Here we go.
All right. So I'm holding on to a Louis Vuitton wallet here. I'm sure a lot of us owns. I see a Louis Vuitton purse, and I'm sure a lot of us have items stored at home, in your safe, under your bed, somewhere. So if I were to ask you the value of your luxury product, would you be able to tell me the value of it? So suppose you know the value of it and you want to sell it, would you be able to prove to someone that it's authentic? Now, suppose you know the value and you know that it's authentic, how do you know which channel you can sell it for at the most optimal prices and at the highest sales conversion? Chances are probably not to any of them. So currently there's over $3 trillion worth of luxury products sold in the past 20 years. That's equivalent to 3 Apple companies' market cap. And that's actually piling up over $250 billion a year. $250 billion market cap of an Apple company. However, trust is very short in supply. There's a lot of counterfeits, and in the next 4 years, that's gonna equivalent to about $2.3 trillion. So this means that there's definitely more counterfeits, a lot of scammers, and a lot of fraudsters trying to make money off of us. But imagine you can buy and sell with absolute confidence that the item is real. And the price has been benchmarked against the global standard. And there's a safer way to transact where everything has been authenticated. If you could do all these things, you can unlock the $3 trillion opportunity. So we have blockchain. We harness the power of AI and blockchain. We're the world's first decentralized online luxury exchange. It's fraud-free, scam-free, and counterfeit-free for all transactions. So what we do, we're able to transfer the luxury item into hard-earned cash. So we do it by collecting information. So product owners, they can digitize an item by filling out a form, take photos or take videos of it. And step 2 is we have a verification solution where our verifiers from over 20 countries, they will be able to verify the item, as well as utilize our global price index powered by AI to benchmark against pricing, as well as we have hardware and software technology that can scan the item to determine if the item is real or authentic, real or fake. So as a result, we're able to create a digital asset. The digital asset contains all the information, including metadata, as well as images pertaining to a luxury item, which is a physical asset. So this store of value allows the owner of an item to transfer this item to a new owner, where as well as the data is immutable. So with the digital assets, once it's created, actually once the product owner uploads the information, verifiers, they can authenticate the item. From there, the digital asset is created. Once a digital asset is created, we have multiple use cases, which I will discuss later on. So currently, we have a global price index powered by AI. We've built this in the past 2 years with our team of 25. We collect data, we cleanse it, we classify, and we have business intelligence insights, which we provide to over 600 merchants from over 20 countries. So this enables better decision-making for the sellers and buyers. So our global price index helps customers to monitor live inventory from over 22 countries. They know where to get the item and which seller has the best value. So for sellers, through our business intelligence platform, they're able to find optimal prices, the distribution channel to sell the item at, as well as obtaining the highest sales conversion. So at LuxChain, we utilize the LXR token, where the sellers, buyers, as well as verifiers, they can have faster peer-to-peer transactions, enabling trustless payments and thus reducing costs. So we have multiple use cases for our digital assets. The first use case is our digital assets can be API to e-commerce platforms. So imagine if Taobao or eBay, if a seller is to sell our products on one of those platforms, each one of the actual listings will be LuxChain authenticated with an actual digital asset plugged in. For the luxury marketplace, it's a peer-to-peer luxury exchange where the buyers and sellers, they can transact very safely. For the luxury portfolio tracker, we can provide an application for product owners where they can pull up. Through the application, they're able to see the amount of products that they have stored at home, as well as the total value of how much these products are worth. And of course, the decentralized verification solution enabling the secondhand luxury shops to digitize as well as to verify all of their products stored at their stores. So here at LuxChain, we provide the protocol layer for all of the product data. We also have our artificial intelligence, which monitors all of the price fluctuations from over 20 countries. We're also creating the digital asset for the luxury market, as well as utilize our LXR token. So currently, we have over a team of 25 in-house, where we're developing AI and also blockchain solutions. Currently, we're building on the Metaverse testnet to launch our decentralized verification solution. So within this year, we plan on launching our decentralized verification solution to our luxury partners, which sells secondhand luxury items, primarily in the areas of Hong Kong as well as Japan. And within the next 2 years, it is our vision to enable the LuxChain decentralized luxury exchange. So I would say our current partners, we currently have over 600 merchants with actually close to $500 million US in live inventory value. So with our current team, my name is Kenny Yao, I'm the co-founder of LuxChain. My background is in e-commerce. I was the e-commerce manager for a company called Brandoff. So at the time I was there, we grew the company to about $200 million US in turnover, from 40 to about 65 stores. And this company specializes in secondhand luxury goods. With Ada, she's our CEO. She's the fashionista, and she signs on all of our merchant partners, as well as Alex Hung, our CTO. He was working with UBS Bank as well as HSBC. As well as we have our team of data scientists and senior engineers. This is just our core team. With our advisors, we have Eric Gu with the Metaverse Foundation. It's China's first public blockchain. Of course, we have William. SOSV is our equity investor, as well as, amongst others, who's also done their token generation events. So with our token sale, we're raising 15 million. We already have our cornerstone committed actually invested through the Metaverse Foundation, and SOSV being our the investor. So our vision is to create the new market for the second-hand luxury goods industry. So it's to provide an integrated solution for the second-hand luxury players, creating a standard for the luxury goods authentication, and providing a decentralized luxury exchange. So at LuxChain, we represent the best channels with the greatest security and the best convenience for buyers and sellers to transact. So in the future, all of us are going to ask sellers and buyers, are these items going to be LuxChain authenticated? So here's our Telegram group. Please join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kenny. That was Kenny Au, CEO of LuxChain. Next, we're going to have the CEO of Loot Cakes, Matt Litton, present virtually. So we're going to take a few seconds to set that up, and he will be on shortly. So please be patient for 2 seconds.
All right, Matt, I'm going to unmute you. All right, Matt, could you do a sound check?
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yep, it's good. All right, you're up, Matt.
Okay, great. Hi everyone. So Loot Cakes is a business that was created independently of blockchain technology, but has discovered blockchain to be the perfect enabler and accelerant to our vision. So first I'm going to introduce what Loot Cakes is, and then I'll discuss where blockchain is taking us. Most of you probably know these top-grossing video games. What do they have in common? They're all free to play and make money with optional in-app purchases. Free-to-play games are an $82 billion global market. But within these games, 80% of revenue comes from less than 1% of players. The problem for game companies is that spenders are hard to find. Advertising networks and social networks are blind or have limited visibility on the purchasing history of their users. $6 billion is spent each year by game companies on advertising, but much of it is wasted, targeting users who are unlikely to spend. Enter Loot Cakes. We've created a first-of-its-kind network that brings together and rewards the spenders of free-to-play games. Using our exclusive network and data set, we help game companies directly reach their most valuable customers. Let's see how it works. First, members create their account on lootcakes.com. Second, they have the option to link their email account. This allows us to automatically detect and collect their game purchasing receipts. We then display those purchases and games in the user's account. For every purchase they make in any free-to-play game, we give our members points called Loot Cakes. Loot Cakes are redeemable for gift cards to major retailers and gaming platforms. But that's not all. Members can multiply their rewards by discovering new games that pay us and by activating offers in those games called power-ups. Sorry about that. Right. Members can also team up with their friends to create groups called alliances, and members can also win special prizes and giveaways. Loot Cakes is a mobile-optimized website that looks like an app on the user's phone. A native mobile app, or DApp, is coming very soon. Now let's talk about how we make money. Loot Cakes gets a revenue share for delivering spenders to we create what's called lookalike audiences. In a nutshell, we use our member data to create much
Matt, hold on, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Hold on, technical error.
Independent films find their audience. I then became a VC in the gaming business, where I got the inspiration for how to help games find their audience. That's Loot Cakes. My co-founder and CTO, David Schlupner, is a full-stack engineer who co-founded and sold his last software company called WisdomNet. WisdomNet helped companies like the movie studio MGM manage their talent. Dave and I met as undergrads at Duke University, and we've been close friends ever since. Our advisors include the co-founder of App Annie, a vice president of Blizzard Entertainment, and other senior executives within the gaming industry in the US and in China. So how are we doing? First, let's talk about data sharing. 80% of Loot Cakes members link their email account, giving us ongoing access to their receipts. On average, we collect 25 months of past purchasing data from every spender on day one of registration. This allows us to immediately present them with the most relevant, tailored offers. Are we attracting the big spenders? The answer is yes. Our average spend per spender is over $125 a month on free-to-play games, up from $70 per month when we started at Chinaccelerator in September. Our top 1% is spending over $2,400 a month on free-to-play games. In total, Loot Cakes members have spent over $2 million on free-to-play games over the past 6 months. That's almost a 10x increase since September. So over the past few months, Loot Cakes has closed contracts with our first 5 clients, including 2 Tier 1 top-grossing game publishers. This includes Scopely. Scopely's game, Walking Dead: Road to Survival, recently cracked the top 30 grossing games on the App Store and Google Play in the US market. And then there's Fun Plus. Fun Plus is a major global games publisher based in China. Their game, Guns of Glory, recently cracked the top 10 grossing games in the US market on Google Play. So to recap where we are, Loot Cakes has become the world's first network of spenders in free-to-play games. But where are we going, and how does blockchain play a central role? Our vision for Loot Cakes is to become the world's first network for rewarded data sharing. That means expanding beyond games into other commerce verticals where enthusiasts drive a disproportionate share of the revenue. Our mission is to transform consumers from the hunted to the hunter. In the current consumer data paradigm, consumers surf the web and apps, third parties collect their data, and third parties profit from it. Loot Cakes seeks to be on the leading edge of the new consumer data paradigm, in which consumers harness their data to get more of what they love. With the recent Facebook scandal and the introduction of GDPR, we believe this is the perfect time for Loot Cakes and our model of consumer data empowerment. So why blockchain? The answer is about trust. Trust is the company's most important success factor. To join Loot Cakes, members must be comfortable and willing to share their data. To transact with us, marketers must believe that spending data is authentic. And to partner with us, affiliates must believe that reporting is accurate. To scale Loot Cakes, we must scale trust. With blockchain and smart contracts, members, marketers, and affiliates can independently control and verify their data by querying a decentralized data ledger. In addition, blockchain increases the desirability of our reward currency. Now, Not only can members redeem their loot cakes for gift cards and virtual goods in their favorite games, but they can also exchange loot cakes for our cryptocurrency loot tokens and convert that into other cryptocurrencies from there. Our plan is to build and issue tokens on an existing third-party blockchain and smart contract platform. This will likely be Ethereum, with a scaling solution like Raiden to minimize transaction fees, since our use case involves a high volume of sub-$1 million rewards for individual transactions. We're also looking at EOS, which minimizes transaction fees by design. Currently, we are targeting an ICO launch date in approximately 6 months, at the end of this year or the beginning of next. Loot Cake straddles two popular verticals for ICOs, gaming and data, but is differentiated from existing projects in those areas. There are no gaming projects that focus on data. Many projects look to create an entirely new gaming ecosystem to replace existing app stores and tech giants. Loot Cakes allows consumers to harness the data from the existing dominant platforms and is designed to thrive in the middle period between the current centralized paradigm and the decentralized future. Among existing database blockchain projects, none are focused around gaming, nor do any utilize any kind of a vertically tailored approach. We believe a vertically tailored approach is essential for appealing to the enthusiasts who drive these commerce verticals. Loot Cakes has previously raised $500,000 and is currently raising another $500,000 as part of our pre-seed angel round, with 50% going to operations and 50% to blockchain and ICO expenses. We already have approximately half of that committed. If you're interested in the future of gaming and rewarded data, please get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. That was a wonderful introduction to Loot Cakes. That was Matt Litton, CEO of Loot Cakes, everyone. Next, we're going to invite one of our partners from the Across Asia Alliance to present. This is WPO. Please take it away.
Yeah. Hi everyone, this is Barfware from WPO in Paris, France.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to introduce our ICO project. I will start with the first information, which is the ICO is ongoing. It was launched on the 14th of June last week, and we are very proud to expose you the different components of this ICO. WPO has been created 10 years ago, and oops, I don't know how to change this. Sorry. WPO was created 10 years ago and is a company of helping to generate green electricity to the world. After 10 years of self-funded and profitable growth, we have decided to introduce the blockchain model in our business model. Our current credit rating from Fitch or Moody's or Standard & Poor's is A range, and we are leaning on a very safe, reliable business model, which includes a recurrence of 5 years of turnover. We are 80 people, and we are scattered across 27 sales points in Europe for the moment. Our current achievement over the last 10 years has been to be managing for up to 4 billion euro worth assets of wind or solar parks. that represents an electricity production of €750 million a year, and we supply proudly the equivalent of the city of Manchester with green electricity. Here is a very simplified map of Europe, where you can see on the left our 27 services points, as well as on the right-hand side, the cloud of sites which we operate. We operate more than 1,500 wind turbines, and the equivalent of 90 rugby stadiums of solar products. We've also secured some parks in China through IPP Unison, a partner which is franchising through the ICO with us. We have 100 sites in China, mostly solar, to complement our wind strongholds in Europe. I said that we were managing €4 billion set worth across Europe, for example, and we don't own these assets. We manage the assets for and on behalf of our clients. And our clients are the world's greatest investors, like you can see on this map, BlackRock, Allianz, or some others like KfW, Societe Generale, and others. These key clients have been with us for the last 10 years, and some of them have pre-committed to joining the ICO by converting the current contracts they are having with us into tokens. So in a few weeks, we hope we can announce a few of those names partnering and joining the ICO from a corporate level. And one thing which is extraordinary in my opinion, as part of this ICO, some of those clients are, as I said, very reputable institutionals, infrastructure, private equity funds, and those people have long-hold position, and they would stay with us on the tokens position for up to 10 years. Yes, you heard it well. It's not only 10 months as a very long term for ICOs, it's 10 years, the normal average time for an infrastructure investment. What is this ICO about? Well, we are in energy, and we are making green energy. The subjacent for this business is the understanding of climate is changing. Global warming is real, and pollution is a major civilizational issue. Since 2016 and the Paris Agreement, the world recognized that part of the solution, renewables, would help a great deal. We think, in a number of scenarios, including the likes of oil giants BP or Shell, that up to 50% of the world's electricity by 2050 will be supplied by green electricity sources. So WPO sits right in the heart of the energy and ecological transition. Now, why would we like to move down the blockchain route? Well, we have a secured business, an established business, and a proven track record. We see the blockchain for what it represents in terms of traceability and capacity to transact safely at a worldwide scale, an opportunity to lower the cost of green electricity to bring more and faster green electricity to the world. Our current business model is very much the one of a consultant company. We do have specialized services and asset management services. The specialist services are very short term, and they bring clients to the asset management services, which in turn brings knowledge. But at the end of the day, what we do here, like many of you possibly, we just charge fees. We just charge man-hours. And we believe this model is not sustainable anymore, especially in the field of green electricity, where the cost of electricity makes it whether a winner or a loser. We, as an asset manager, cannot load the asset we manage with our fees anymore. People do not want to spend the money anymore, and at the end of the day, the green electricity should be as cheap as possible, and at the end, cheaper than any other source of electricity. So this ICO is about reducing the cost of electricity. How do we do that? You can see on this new chart that we keep our business model. We stay the good asset managers as we've been for the last 10 years. But we use the data feed we have from these activities to blockchain certificates of green electricity production. And those certificates of green electricity productions will be traded worldwide as a component to reduce the cost of electricity from the producers. In effect, when you want to get green electricity out of the socket, you need green electricity sources, and tomorrow more and more. So the only way to work this out is to make sure that more electricity generation plants are installed. And the only way to make it is to reduce the cost of it by asking the worldwide community buying our certificates. We can relieve the generating assets we manage from our fees. Basically, instead of charging man-hours, what we will do is we will do our services for free. Like Google, I stopped selling my services to my clients. Google offers free search suites and free software suites, very good. And at the end, out of the data, makes money. This is what we're going to do. We're going to use a proprietary blockchain. This is DAG based, a little bit like NEO, the Chinese NEO blockchain. This blockchain would be WPO's property, and believe it or not, frame of this work is to make an ICO tangible. WPO is a tangible business, a concrete business, and this ICO is very concrete. The blockchain is already operating. It's been operating and generating certificates for the last weeks already, and in a few weeks again, we will have our first nodes directly installed on the wind parks and the solar parks we manage. In short, the story is WPO, this little man in the middle, managing the assets. Out of the data we see, we're going to generate GoCerts, certificates. And those certificates are going, when they are traded, to subsidize, actually, our activities. And we are going to be free of charge for our clients. At the end, the cost of electricity will be reduced. To access the certificates, you need to buy green tokens. Those green tokens are currently for sale on the ICO. And those green tokens are the only tool which can give access to the GoCerts. But why would people buy GoCerts? Well, that's very simple. Initially, they just want to look green or greener, just to make sure that their corporate and social responsibility reports looks better, so they can refinance themselves looking greener, looking better. But when you look at this, when the system is proven in a couple of months or so, we're going to ramp up from a few certificates today to millions of certificates in a few weeks or months. Well, those certificates are contents, like cans. We are going to include the electricity in it. And from a ratio multiple, which is 1, we're going to make a multiple of 200 by adding the electricity into our. We're here in Shanghai at from 2 units energy level. Thank you very much for your attention. And again, this ICO has been launched last week. The blockchain is already operating, and we are ready to ramp up and be successful with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention. Now we're going to move towards our networking and drink session. So thank you very much for attending. It's a pleasure having you all here. Thank you.
还没有。
它网上可以看得到吗？
看到的，这个可以看到 Zoom 不可以了。Zoom
我的意思是说，那个网上会有存的文档吗？
会有的。YouTube 不是直接
这是什么品牌
？YouTube 呀。
哦